Hello, PSR friends, colleagues, professors, and staff. Welcome to our community chapel. I'm Kate Steinberg. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a first year in the MDiv program. Whether you're gathering on campus or you're connecting with us online, thank you for joining us on this day and in this place. Today's service is brought to you by my classmates in ritual design, communication, and empathy. This is a three-part course taught by our beloved professors, Professor Lisa Asadillo, President David Vasquez-Levy, Reverend Dr. Marcia Evans, and Professor Leonard McMahon. As emerging faith-rooted leaders, this course challenges us to consider and enact the transformative and liberative practices of ritual design, communication, and empathy across any domain wherein we serve. So how do we sacralize a secular space? How do we walk the line of pastoral and prophetic while designing an event or delivering a talk? How do we nurture belonging and safety when providing care for our communities of concern? I've been thinking of this three-part course in terms of space. In ritual design, we focused on creating anti-oppressive space to facilitate a journey from one station to another. In communication, we focused on speaking prophetically and authentically into that space through the power of story. And now in empathy, we're learning how to better hold space for the pain and struggles in our communities of care. Creating a ritual space, speaking prophetically into that space, holding empathetic space. In these spaces, in these laboratories, we've been called to be deeply vulnerable with each other and with our professors while we hone our voices and practices. The transformation has been multi-layered for us as a cohort and as leaders. I hope that what we've learned manifests in the service today and that you feel called to consider how ritual, communication, and empathy practices strengthen your impact as faith-rooted leaders. And now, without further ado, I invite you to join us in our gathering hymn.
You're on mute, Mel.
Yeah. Mel, you're muted.
Mel, you're on mute. There you go.
And all that we do to accomplish the mission of PSR in this location, we acknowledge that we do so on the sacred and unceded territory of the Tochenyo-speaking Oliwan people, the successors of the sovereign Verona Board of Alameda County. We're very grateful for their faithful stewardship of this holy ground, which continues to support all we seek to do in the name of justice, compassion, and building a world where all can thrive. Additionally, in keeping with our theme of returning the gift, we offer this deepest acknowledgement to the land itself for her bountiful provisions to all of its inhabitants. Even when we have all polluted the earth and all elements by which we are sustained, they continue to renew themselves and return life to us. For this and more, we ask for forgiveness. We offer our unending commitment to love and care for her.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good
morning. We'll invite you to rise as you're willing and able as to sing familiar song, a couple of additional verses as we are preparing ourselves to indeed be sanctuaries. And again, rise as you're willing and able.
Prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true, with thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary. Consecrate me to my chosen ministry. Show me honor and redo. Light will sing, make me a blessing, sharing my food.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Carlos. My pronouns are he, his, him, and this is my first year at the MJ program. And I'm part of the wonderful learning experience with ritual design, communication, and empathy classes. So my gratitude to the professors. Thank you so much. Today I'm reading an excerpt from Braiding Sweetgrass by Rolling Wolkimeter. Allegiance to gratitude. Our old farm is within the ancestral homelands of the Onondaga Nation, and the reserve lies a few ridges to the west of my hilltop. Here, the schoolway begins and ends not with the Pledge of Allegiance, but with the Thanksgiving address. A river of words as old as the people themselves, known more accurately in the Onondaga language as the words that come before all else. This ancient order of protocol sets gratitude as the highest priority. The gratitude is directed straight to the ones who share their gifts to the world. Now I invite you just to close your eyes for a moment, okay? And please breathe in, breathe out. We are thankful to our Mother of the Earth, for she gives us everything that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk about upon her. It gives us joy that she should continue to care for us, just as she has from the beginning of time. To our Mother Earth, we send thanksgiving, love, and respect. Now, our minds are one. We give thanks to all of the waters of the world for quenching our thirst for providing strength and nurturing life for all beings. We know its power in many forms: waterfalls and rain, mist and streams, rivers and oceans, snow and ice. We are grateful that the waters are still here and meeting the responsibility to the rest of creation. Can we agree that water is important to our lives and bring our minds together as one to send greetings to thanks to the water? Now our minds are one. Open your eyes, breathe in, breathe out. Imagine raising children in a culture in which gratitude is the first priority. Each part of creation is thanked. You can't listen to the Thanksgiving address without feeling wealthy. And while expressing gratitude seems innocent enough, it is a revolutionary idea. Gratitude cultivates an ethic of wholeness. The Thanksgiving address reminds us that we already have everything we need. Thank you, thank you, and thank you.
As Michael Bruce makes his way up, he will be our preacher today. My name is David Vasquez Levy. I serve here as president. My pronouns are he, him, él, and I'm delighted. The journey of this class has been quite remarkable. I'm grateful to all the students that are sharing elements of that experience. And in the middle of the course is communications, and we talk about sermons. Even though when we use the word sermon, people may think of a wide variety of ways of how we connect something particular to a universal story. Is the particular of our experience able to speak to a universal of what it means to be human, and to connect our particular story to a legacy of ancestral wisdom or sacred wisdom that can come from a wide variety of sources. And that was in part the opportunity and the challenge for the class, a very diverse class of students that managed to live out that commitment of how we can speak with authenticity to who we are, to the ways we experience life and the divine, and to speak out of that in a way that we can all resonate and gain a greater understanding of that. It was an incredible gift. I encourage you, if you ever, our class is always hearing all the sermons from the whole class. This was a marathon into about 10 o'clock at night, because we went long the last day, which meant like 2 a.m. somewhere for people, no, maybe 1 a.m. And Michael's was the last sermon that day, and everybody stayed for it. And immediately the reaction was lots of these sermons needed to be heard by others, but really it was an encouragement for Michael to speak into chapel today. So thank you, Michael, for being willing to do that.
Thank you very much. My name is Michael Goss. I go by they, them pronouns. The text that I base my sermon on is a Buddhist scripture called the Vimalkirti Sutra. You don't need to have read it to get the meaning of the sermon, but if you do get a chance, it's very funny and I highly recommend it. So, a bodhisattva should regard all living beings as a wise man regards the reflection of the moon in water, whereas magicians regard men created by magic. In the Vimalkirti Sutra, the text I'm exegeting, we hear some pretty astounding and even disorienting statements, ones that might provoke in us confusion or even distress. But let's give a little context first. Mahayana Buddhism, tradition the Vimalkirti Sutra is part of, emphasizes compassion for all sentient beings. Practitioners of Mahayana Buddhism even take a vow, stating that the goal of their spiritual practice is to gain enlightenment for the sake of all beings. They strive to become a Buddha, or fully enlightened being, in order to have the ability to liberate as many sentient beings from suffering as possible. Mahayana Buddhists who take this vow can consider themselves bodhisattvas, beings on the path to enlightenment. So when Manjushri, Bodhisattva, who is very far along that path, asks Vimalakirti, titular character of the sutra, how a practitioner could view other sentient beings. We might anticipate something like Bodhisattva should cherish sentient beings like a mother cherishes her only child. Indeed, this is a teaching which is found in many places in Buddhist scripture. But Vimalakirti is something of a trickster figure, filled with compassion, but fond of mischief too. Previous chapters in the sutra have mostly been about various times that Vimalakirti surprised, shocked, embarrassed, or otherwise schooled various people in the Dharma through actions and speeches that appeared contradictory, paradoxical, or even scandalous. Nevertheless, each story demonstrated that Vimalakirti had a profound understanding of reality and the purest motivation to bring about the well-being of others. Just enjoys yanking people's chains while he's at it. So, in response to Manjushri's question, Vimalakirti says that a bodhisattva should view sentient beings as illusions or even logical contradictions. He uses a few rather colorful analogies too. He says a bodhisattva should regard sentient beings like the fun of games for one who wishes to die, or the erection of a eunuch, or the pregnancy of a barren woman. Now, how can this be? How can you treat someone with compassion when you consider them to be like the erection of a eunuch? What does Vimalakirti mean by this? So, our minds very much deal in either or scales. If something isn't one way, there is only one other way it could be, and so it must be that second way. When we hear that sentient beings aren't the way we think they are, we hear these analogies, our minds may be inclined to adopt the view that sentient beings simply don't exist, that there's nothing to them, no consciousness, no feeling or awareness, and therefore that they don't matter. But that would be a grave mistake. We would be going from one extreme to the other. Buddha taught a middle way. There's something more going on with Vimalakirti's speech here. So let's examine these metaphors closely and see if there's something to them that indicates more than just illusion or non-existence. The first 5 metaphors that Vimalakirti uses indicate appearances dependent on an observer. He says, the reflection of the moon in water, men created by magic, face in a mirror, water of a mirage, or the sound of an echo. All of these suggest that the appearance of sentient beings depends on what we do or think. They suggest that what Vimalakirti is speaking about here isn't necessarily sentient beings' existence in themselves, but rather how those beings appear to us. What we are perceiving are our own perceptions, and we should keep that in mind and regard what we are perceiving accordingly. The metaphors proceed to describe not just illusions, but logical or practical impossibilities. Now, if Vimalakirti is speaking about our perceptions, this should encourage us to remember that our perceptions cannot capture all there is to reality. And we should have a sense of humility when it comes to what we think we know about other people. Gender is a major part of how we perceive ourselves and others. And to many, it may be concrete and obvious. But the deeper you look, the more nuanced and subtle gender is. Everyone's experience of gender is different, and it can be difficult to communicate to others. And I have no grand theory of gender. I'm simply offering myself as an example. Now, you might look at me and see a man. You see this because of how you have been conditioned to see. You were taught certain categories into which you sort people based on arbitrary criteria. From this, you derive certain expectations about things which you cannot observe, such as my intentions, my feelings, my future actions. But when I grow out my hair and I wear a pink mask and some leggings, people see a woman. I've been read as female by strangers many times, sometimes by my own intention. I've watched people cycle through multiple gender categories while looking at me, referring to me first with one pronoun, then another, then another. When people look at me, they often see what they want to see, or what their minds bring them to see, or not see. I have also found how to dress in a way that makes me socially invisible, an unremarkable flicker on people's consciousness. How I am read is a delicate interplay of subtle choices on my part with other people's preconceptions. I used to have a very negative relationship with my body because I had internalized society's perceptions and stereotypes about it. I had learned to read my body as male. This caused me a lot of angst and self-loathing. As I grew, I feared that my body was becoming something wrong. I felt I had to fight its sexuality, and materiality, and in order to do so, I starved. I did not have compassion for myself, and I didn't have compassion for others either. I thought I did, but I didn't know what compassion was. Not really. It took me many years of sustained practice to break down these false perceptions and catch a glimpse of what I truly am. I am vivid, luminous interdependence. My body was never male, nor is it female. I am an entire ecosystem of beings, a dynamic interplay of divine energy. The elements that compose my body have no notion of life, let alone male or female. The consciousness suffusing this body has no form or shape or color. It is beyond subject and object. When this body dies and returns to the earth, turns to soil and feeds new life, what could be my gender? What is true of that inevitable future is true of this ever-changing present and has always been true. Because I have let go of my misconceptions, I am now able to have deep compassion for my body. It is free, utterly free. In the text, the goddess tells the Buddha's disciple Shariputra, although I have sought my female state for these 12 years, I have not yet found it. In all things, there is neither male nor female. The Buddha teaches that these categories of male and female do not define who we really are. And this isn't restricted just to male and female either. These are quintessential categories which we use to categorize each other. But what is said about these categories is just as true of other ones. Race, species, class, nationality, political affiliation, sexual orientation. Any label you can think of, it doesn't truly define who you are. These labels impact our life experiences in myriad ways, sometimes more than we wish them to. At the same time, we can see that we are more than just the sum of these labels. Our perceptions help us navigate life and survive day to day. They are useful and we should be thankful for them. But when we confuse our perceptions with reality, or worse, refuse to change our perceptions given new information, rejecting reality in favor of our own fantasies, we are bound to cause harm to ourselves and others. But Vimalakirti assures us, when we let go of our attachments to our perceptions, we can offer the love that is truly a refuge for all living beings. The love that is peaceful because free of grasping. Love that accords with reality because it is the very same in all three times. The love is without conflict because free of the violence of the passions. And the love that is imperturbable because totally ultimate. Our love can be free and unconditional only if we let each other be who we are, without trying to restrict each other to our own opinions and biased perceptions. When we let go of our expectations of who we have to be and who other people have to be, we can offer a love that is truly accepting a world sorely lacking acceptance. We can provide comfort and support to those in desperate need of it. We can understand others because we are willing to put aside our preconceptions and truly listen to them. This is the way of the Bodhisattva. This is how a Bodhisattva should regard all living beings. Thank you.
Man, thank you so much, Michael. So in that same vein, we're going to now enjoy a song from some special music that is actually a mashup of I Need You to Survive and Lean on Me. We're going to experiment with something which is the true hybrid reality. We're going to try singing with the recording. So Micah, our very own Micah Melody, is playing the keyboard in this recording. And it is a project of a group called Kinship Commons, which create experiential and transformative gatherings toward the flourishing of marginalized peoples. Started by 4 women of color, we are passionate about expanding imagination, integrating multiple traditions, and cultivating new ways of being that are life-giving, healing, and generative. We seek to lead people toward kinship with one another and with God. So I invite you to sing along. I'll lead us a little bit, but it starts with I need you, you need me, I need you to survive. They're also going to be printed on video.
I need you. You need me.
All part of God's power.
We're all part of God's body. Stand with me.
Agree with me.
Agree with me. We're all part of God's body.
It's God's will.
It is God's will
Every need be supplied.
that every need be supplied. You are important to me. I need you to survive. You are important to me. I need you to survive.
When you're not strong, and I'll be your friend.
I'll help you carry on.
I'll help you carry on. For
Why don't you rise as you are able and willing?
I have need somebody to lean on. Sometimes in our life,
We all have pain.
we all have pain. We all have sorrow.
But if we are wise,
But if we are wise, we
we
know
know
that
that
there's always lean on me. When you're not strong, then I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Oh, it won't be long. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
we have interlude, we're doing great. There's one part where the lean on me and the I need you to survive are together. And so you can choose which song you want to sing.
I pray for you.
You pray for
You
me.
pray for me. I love.
I need you
I
to survive.
need you to
I won't
survive.
harm you.
I won't harm
With
you.
words from my mouth.
Words from
I love
mouth.
you.
I love you. I need you
Sing that again. I
to
pray for you.
survive. I pray for you. You pray for
I
me.
love you.
I love you. I need you to
I
survive.
won't harm
I
you.
won't harm
With words
you
from my
with
mouth.
words from my mouth.
I love you.
I love you. I need you
I
to
pray for you and for
survive.
Taylor.
I pray for you.
You pray for
You
me.
pray for me. I love you. I need you to survive. I won't harm you with words from my However you carry on, you won't be long. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on me. When you're not strong, I'll be. I'll help you carry on. You won't be long. I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Somebody to lean on. Somebody to lean on. Every day, every hour. Somebody to lean on. Thank you for being my friend. Somebody to lean on. It is God's will. You are important to me. You are important to me. I need you to survive. You are important to me. I need you to survive. I'm gonna need you, yeah.
And invite us to take another deep breath. God of fire on our spines, God of spaciousness in our hearts, God of weight in our bodies, the kind that lifts us up and says, we are here. God of aliveness in our bodies, God of movement, God of hope, God of healing, God of love. We thank you for the ways that you gather us beyond our understanding and imagination. For the people that are present now and the people that will be present with us in the future. We thank you for the ways that you are present and enable us to be present in our hybrid reality. For the conversation, the shared breath, our presence in the context where you have called us. We thank you for the gift of being held in our birthing process as we become who you are calling us to be. For the process ever unfolding, our petals opening to the light, for the seeds you are growing in us, nurtured by the gift of this community. We thank you for the word just offered by Michael, for the gift of their presence, and for the fruit that will come of the seeds they have. We ask that you would fill us with courage and boldness as we move from the sacred space of this gathering into the next moment, in whatever time and place we are in, and into how you're calling us to be in that next. We thank you for your presence with us in every moment and in this community. Amen.
Thank you, Felicia. My name is Barb Kraft, pronouns she, her, in my first year at PSR. Welcome. Before I begin with a brief prayer, please find your preferred position of comfort. Elements to be employed are spirit, breath, and visualization. Creator of the universe, lead us daily through the garden created by you. Till our minds and hearts, weathered by hurt far and near, rid us of our fears and doubts that impede our growth. Bless seeds of forgiveness for us to now tend, sowing gifts grown to harvest, replant, and now share. With eyes now closed, inhale slowly, holding the breath for 1 to 2 seconds and releasing. Again, breathe in and out. As your breathing becomes more rhythmic and relaxed, see yourself in the garden of your heart and mind, strolling along and enjoying the serenity. Notice spirit nearby, gentle yet powerful. They are there should you need help in tending to small and large fears or doubts, aiding in releasing troubles slowly and deliberately, and ensuring the hidden root is removed with care and attention. As each hurt is unearthed completely, see each one for what it is. It has no power or place in your sacred space. It withers and dies without a place to take hold. Now in the distance, can you see the one or many who scattered those unfortunate weeds, now removed from your sacred garden? Notice your breathing. As you slowly inhale, breathe in the love of spirit surrounding you, and feel your shoulders ease away from your ears. As you hold that breath, see seeds of forgiveness in your hands. Will you plant these gifts with the purpose of nurturing each one, then harvesting their fruit? Choose and exhale. And now Manny Padua will share the work of the people.
Greetings, everyone. Thank you, Bonta. It's powerful, and to all my classmates and professors, thank you so much. And before I start to share about the work of the people, I'd like to invite Natasha to welcome a new member of our PSR family. I'd like to speak back.
I am first up, thank you, Manny. I am so honored, like, I feel so grateful, so light today, to be able to, introduce to all, the newest member of our community, Janae Jenkins. She is our new operations manager. So much, Janae, for choosing us. I'm so grateful. We've had really great conversations leading up to this point. And yesterday we all had lunch together and it just felt like magic. And I'm just grateful to both Lourdes and Janae for being here. So welcome.
Yes, welcome. And what a sign for new beginnings. And speaking of new beginnings, we have commencement celebration on May 21st. It's on Sunday, and it's happening at the First Presbyterian Church of Berkeley. And we have our very own Reverend Dr. Messiah Evans. Our theme is journeying the path of greatest resilience, embracing faith and practicing hope. And our ceremony will also include the posthumous awarding of the Master of Divinity to Isama Ali Mataafa and the incorporation of selections by his church's choir into the day's liturgy. And then our next chapel will be about our annual graduates chapel. And it'll take place, same time here. Followed by a post-chapel reception gathering. And we also have signups for volunteers, and we're looking for about 8 positions where it can include registration, ushering, taking materials from here to the church, and among other things that may float as the day commences. We have a link that Miss Ann will share to sign up for volunteering. And so that's that one. And then we have our online cafe, which is happening next Monday. We have our very own Bianca Butler to present on a storytelling workshop. So I don't know if you're online, Bianca, you can unmute yourself if you'd like to say something about that. Otherwise, we'll see students or anyone else that is interested to join. The last session, the students expressed they want to continue the cafe throughout the summer. So to continue on the momentum that we've been building. And so we'll look forward to that. Right, and then tomorrow, I'll also invite anyone from the team of the Ignite Collective, whether Meredith or Jonathan, there's an event happening.
Sure, I can jump in for everyone to kind of be able to come up.
Yep.
I was trying to do it. Let me see. So tomorrow we're hosting a live workshop and event to discover your purpose of change. And over the last few years, I think some consistent feedback that we've heard is that students just want, participants just want, people just want more time together in co-creation. And this is a space I would love to see well attended because it's such an added benefit for students of PSR and of our family to bring any challenge that you're facing in your life and your leadership to explore. It's led by Jonathan Murillo. He is a masterful facilitator. He's a heart-centered leader. He is our director of strategy, and he is, I think, all-encompassing of what Ignite is in our heart. So we invite you all to be there. It's 12:30 to 1:30 tomorrow. It's live in our platform, and it's the beginning of something great. It's an ongoing monthly rhythm, and I'd just love to see more students there as part of our PSR family.
Thank you. And I just want to say thank you to Tara for always updating us on the Vine. If you want to follow up with the announcements, you can certainly find them from last week's edition of the Vine. And I'd like to invite anyone else that'd like to announce it.
Yeah, just very quickly, this coming Monday, our board will be on campus, actually Sunday, and Monday is our main board meeting. As all of our board meetings, these are open to faculty, staff, students, community, so you're welcome to join. Information has gone out from Jen, but you'll see it again as a reminder. You can join on Zoom or come and be an observer here in the space as well. And that will start on Sunday afternoon around 3 o'clock and go through Monday at around 5. And so we look forward to also the docket goes out to the whole community. So you have a chance to know the main docket includes reports from all of our departments. So if you want to have a sense of what's really going on at PSR and what this year has been about, that's a great opportunity to do that. I am delighted and looking forward to commencement. I will say that regrettably, I won't be here next week for the chapel as I'm on another board that I serve on that I have to be at next week. But my blessings and congratulations in advance to students as the senior chapel is next Tuesday and follows with a lunch. It's a lunch.
Go ahead, Andy.
In our commencement ceremony, we'll be having a choir again for anybody who is attending. Let me know if you're interested in seeing our choir piece, Mark Miller's, I believe. And we will have rehearsals. For you to attend, and any of them as you're available, whichever ones those are, those will be 2 weeks from today here in the Valley at 11 a.m. We will not be having worship service, but we will have choir rehearsal on that Tuesday morning for anybody who's available, and Thursday during the following Thursday was May 18th, but for the graduate rehearsal at the church where we're having a ceremony, we'll start gathering early since we already rehearsed at 1:45 that day, and also 1:15 the day of. That's any other question or you want to see our music in advance for rehearsal.
Thank you so much. We are excited about it. As you heard, next week will be our graduates chapel, which will be the final communal chapel of the semester. But I also want to let you know that we finally have a decision on our senior kids. This year, we are splitting the donations that can come not just from graduates, but from the whole community between two organizations. One will be the ACLU, specifically to address the work they do for LGBTQIA work. The second organization will be Every Town for Gun Safety. So we're doing that also in memory of Ellie, and we can direct the funds to students, demand action for gun sense in America, or moms. Those are both under the umbrella of Every Town for Gun Safety. So you'll see I'll send an email about that this afternoon. You can see the links to the organization, but we encourage you to be generous in your donations and giving this gift on behalf of the class of 2023.
Are there any other announcements? Let's make it from here.
You need the microphone. Use the microphone.
No way they can.
I want to remind United Methodist students that we'll have our last gathering the semester next week, a week from tomorrow, May 10th at 2 o'clock on Zoom. I've invited Reverend Janelle Bola to join us. Janelle is a pastor in San Francisco and also serves as the co-chair of the Philippine Solidarity Task Force for the California Nevada Conference, and they will be organizing an exposure trip on solidarity to the Philippines later this fall, which many might be interested in. So for that, I want to invite others from other denominations too, if you'd like to participate in that particular Zoom gathering. We'll also be hopefully sharing information about what's happening at our annual conference for the Cal Nevada Methodist Church in June, this coming June, and ways that students can help participate in either attending or helping to support PSR's presence there. So next Wednesday, May 10th.
Is there anyone else that'd like to do? And that's for our announcements. Thank you, man. Well, we come to the end of our service, and just a quick note of gratitude to Reverend Michael Yoshi, who has been serving as our United Methodist coordinator, student coordinator for a couple of years. Straight out of retirement, the day of retirement, contacted him. He said yes. He has been an incredible support to our students. Will continue to be, certainly connected to PSRs and involved in other ways. But 3 grandchildren are demanding his time. 3 new grandkids this spring. So congratulations and gratitude. We'll have other opportunities to express that appreciation to you, Michael, as well, for your service with us. But also, let's give him a hand. Also, Michael mentioned that Reverend Janelle Aloha will be doing the final program for the United Methodist students, and actually will be serving also as a new coordinator of UMC students. Janelle is also a PSR alum and just very connected in lots of ways to the community. So we're excited to welcome Janelle into that role. So yeah, we have gathered today around the practices that have historically marked the life of faith communities and Christian traditions.
but that really have shaped the life and of worship, of pastoral care, and of preaching in their forms of various religious traditions. And to recognize that these things, how we mark space and ritualize our lives, how we tell the stories that matter to us, shape us, and how we create space for one another and offer care in a world in desperate need of it. And so I'm grateful for the ways we have sought to do that. And I am particularly grateful to do them in ways that reflect our particularity and a diverse set of traditions that we bring into these practices and into this work together. At a time when Christian nationalism and other forms of bigotry are on the rise and claiming the corner on religious practice and ideology, the work we do is life-saving, critical, and necessary. The witness of this course, the witness of our community, the very makeup of who we are, counters most of the forces that seek to divide us across lines of race, identity, gender. So we see a very few words here from Gloria and Sauduas, whose work many students become familiar with throughout their program at PSR, reminding us of the critical importance of our life and of our work, and of challenging all sorts of binaries. Nothing happens in the real world unless it first happens in the images in our heads. Amen.
We actually have a closing song, so I may ask for another benediction. Sing with us. The words are printed in your bulletin. Return again. We invite you to rise as you are willing and able. Go in peace.
Thank you.